إنما يخشى الله من عباده العلماء.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، ونصلي ونسلم على الحبيب المصطفى سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبعد. Brothers, we're back to the Usool Fiqh Durus sessions, and this is session number 24 inshallah. And we stopped last at the legal evidence, which at the first one, which is Al-Kitab, the book, which Al-Quran. Al-Kitab is the Quran. It's the name specifically. When we say Al-Kitab with Alif Lam, it is the Quran. And we talked about how do we understand Al-Kitab, and we talked about there are some things we have to follow in order to make a correct understanding of Quran. And we also talked about the first thing is to, when we look at Quran, we have to consider the reason for the revelation, because every single ayah was revealed in a specific context to deal with a specific incident in the life of Rasulullah and with the Sahaba. And that's why Quran descended on stages all over 23 years. It is not a book that's printed out of a printer and was given to people. It was meant to live the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam with the Sahaba, with all the situations that's surrounding a growing nation, and dealing with all the obstacles and the challenges that they might actually face socially, politically, economically, and theologically, of course, religiously, creed-wise, and military-wise. So all these were dealt with in the course of the descendants and revelation of the Quran. So normal cases, something, an incident, that's like most of the ayat of Quran. An incident happens and Quran responds with revelation to Rasulullah, with Quran words of how to deal with it, what is supposed to be done. This is other than, of course, the ayahs that talking about Tawheed al-Rububiyyah. Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, the ayahs of Tawheed al-Rububiyyah are meant to show the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and how He should not be, subhanahu wa ta'ala, should not have any sharik or any one to worship with Him. So these were mostly are not connected to reasons. Some of them are, but mostly are not. But in Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah or Tawheed al-Ibadah or Tawheed al-Talab, it is actually connected to an incident, to a reason. So we need to know what the reason is. But we mentioned also before that does this mean that the hukum or the ruling of the ayah only corresponds to this incident? So that if this was true, then it means that Quran become completely obsolete after the death of Rasulullah, because there are no new incidents. No, that's why we say al-ibra bi'umum al-lafz la bikhusus al-sabab. The intention is to follow generality of the meaning, rather of the meaning of the text, rather than the specificity of the incident. So and we gave examples of that, and we mentioned that some incidents that happened correlates to some ayahs in talaq and in with the will of Muslims. And the second, and we showed also that does the Quran text or the Quranic ayahs, what did the Quran use in revelation in terms of the science? Because we mentioned that the people took it far beyond what it should be in saying that Quran has all science in the world, and it contains every math equation and all these things, and every theory that comes out in physics or in other biology or something. They search for what is relevant to it in Quran. Quran was not meant to cover such a thing at all, never. Quran only used what the Arab used to know, like the stars, how the stars movement, because they used to do that, because they go and like walk through the desert, and they need the stars. وَبِالنَّجْمِ هُمْ يَهْتَدُونَ, and with the stars they get guidance. That's the ayah. The Quran used history, the historical events of the perished nations, in order to give us the advice and give us the guidance, and tell us not to do what they did, and or do what the good people did, the good ummas. Quran used the science of amthal, the parallels in speaking. So he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Quran, وَضَرَبْنَا لَهُمُ الْأَمْثَالِ, and we gave them parallels, many parallels in Quran. And the parallels is really amount to a lot of ayahs in Quran, because it's how the both simple and complex minds work, whether you are a common person or you are like a person who is like intellectually high, like a scientist or a scholar or something like that. Both use the parallels in our logical world, in how we understand things, how we make things useful in our life. So we mentioned that as well. And we are going to say now, we're going to start with, in order also to understand the Sharia, we have to understand that when Quran descended, it descended not only with the language of the Arabs, it descended using the habits and the customs that Arabs actually live by and understand, which in a broad way, it controls the way they speak. Because we know language is the form where ideologies are formed. They are the forms. They are like, you make a cake, you get this pot, with a specific shape inside and stuff, and then you put the dough and the stuff inside. It comes out with the shape of the pot. The customs and the habits and the culture and the environment surrounding the Arabs at that time constitutes a lot of how they think and how Quran addresses them. Because If Quran didn't do that and talk with a global or Romans or Persians or whatever other culture and customs built into that, they wouldn't understand it. They would say, what is this? We don't understand what you're saying. What does this mean? How this works? So we don't accept this, we don't accept that. But it came with all the using the customs and the habits of Arabs in general, and how it impacts the use of language. Because, like I said, language is the part of the ideology. How we speak makes how we think, because we are contained with the words. Ideas are only expressed with words. It's not addressed with anything else. I mean, except with Braille, Braille language for blind people. May Allah bless them. Or the this thing for the sound, for the impaired, But normal people, the majority of people, 99% of people, they use language, they use words. So when we look at that, we find that using the language, actually using the two sides of language. One side is the meaning of what is being said, and the other is the words that was used in order to express that meaning. So that's why they say language has actually two sides. One is the main side of language, which is what the original word is put to address, to convey, the original. And one is the secondary meaning. The secondary meaning of the word is what can be understood from the side, from the shadows of the word. And Arabs have this, it mostly the highest level that uses a secondary meanings in all the language of humans. In Arabic, we have a lot of shadow meanings. It can be used in a vast ways to express different meaning using the same words, or a very slight change of words in a sentence of like couple of words, 2 words, and it can be put in 10, 15, 20 different meanings. Like for instance, if we talk about say the words, if you say قام زيد, the literal translation is stood Zaid. English put it backwards, Zaid stood, but in Arabic sense قام زيد, because in the original meaning, this is the original meaning of it, of قام زيد, Zaid stood. That's it. This is the main meaning. This is the original meaning. This is the main meaning. But look, when we change the set, because in Arabic we put the verb before the noun to stress the verb. So when you say قام زيد, it means we actually want to stress the fact that he stood before who he is. If we say Zaidun stood, Zaidun qama, it means that we are actually bringing the attention to Zaid, stressing Zaid more than his act as the standing action. If we say inna Zaidan qama, if we say inna Zaidan qama, it means that I am answering a question. Did Zaid stood? Yes. Inna Zaidan qama. If we say Wallahi inna Zaidan qama, it means that somebody is actually challenging me in this fact, and I am stressing the fact that he stood up. If we say قد قام زيد, قد is the two letters. قد means للتأكيد, to emphasis letters. It's emphasis letter. قد فعلت, I indeed have did that. So indeed Zaid stood. So it tells me that the secondary meaning is that of the fact that قام زيد, the original meaning, if you say قد قام زيد, it means that somebody is expecting this standing of Zaid, and you look at him and say قد قام زيد. Indeed Zaid stood now. If you say إنما قام زيد, you are talking to someone actually who is waiting for Zaid to come. إنما قام زيد, it means that somebody is telling you, oh, he didn't stood. You say no, إنما قام زيد. You are like giving him hard time about it. Yes, إنما قام زيد. That's the difference way in these two words that قام زيد, the main meaning, and all these secondary meanings that came from adding this or that, or change the verb to noun to verb, add adat inna, adat qad, all this way of things. The meaning, which is the secondary indication, the main indication, the main meaning, the main use of the language, the main indication, and the secondary indication, which is الدلالة التابعة. The second indication can be different in many ways. That's aside from the sound of your voice. The sound of your voice, as in other language, can actually indicate other stuff. So add this to this, you can have from two words and some syllables, you can have a big variety of meanings, main and secondary meaning. So that's why those who said the translation of Quran is not a Quran, and actually I agree with that. The translation of Quran only translate the main dilala, the main indication, الدلالة الأصلية, the main indication. It doesn't translate, and it cannot translate the secondary, because there is no way to do that. It's embedded on the language itself. So those who read the translation, they might know the main meaning, which is good. The main meaning is the main meaning. But Quran relies on a lot of secondary meanings as well, and indication. I mean, like when the guy came to Rasul, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, إنكم وما تعبدون من دون الله حصب جهنم أنتم لها واردون, إنكم أنتم وما تعبدون من دون الله حصب جهنم أنتم لها واردون. So when this ayah, you and whatever you are worshipping are going to be the rocks of hell that burn in hell. You'll burn in hell. So Ibn Zab'ari came to Rasulullah and said, oh, you're saying that? He said, yes, that's Quran. He said, then people worship angels, and people worship Jesus. So are they going to go to hell? He is smart, you know. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he didn't actually understood a very fine word in Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إنكم وما تعبدون. Ma only addresses non-human animals, rocks, statues, all these things. It doesn't address Jesus. It doesn't address malaika. It doesn't address these things. Malaika are not human, but they are not, they understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they make worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they are different than what Quran means here. So ma is not, if Allah said innakum wa man ta'buduna, it means you and whoever you. So whoever here, man ta'budun. So there is ma ta'budun wa man ta'budun. You can never understand that in a translation, because ma and man, there is no translation to each. It will come in one word. You and whoever you worship, or whatever you worship. It doesn't make the distinction. So this is this is what we say here, like people, like in poems, you find that people use sometimes words instead of other words in poems, like yabis and ya'is, and yabis or ba'is. Yabis and ba'is, they are interchangeable. They can be used either. Isa ibn Umar said he heard the poet, the Rumma, say, وظاهر لها من يابس الشحت من يابس الشخت واستعن عليها الصبا واجعل يديك لها سترا. He is saying, actually he's talking about how to build a fire, a small fire, with these little pieces of hard and dry wood, and you nourish them with your hands in order to the wind doesn't blow them away, and your hands will protect it from the wind, and be a cover for them. Sitr means cover. So he said, وَظَاهِرْ لَهَا مِنْ يَابِسِ الشَّخْتِ وَاسْتَعْنِ. Then Isa ibn Umar said, oh, I heard it, وظاهر لها من بائس الشخص واستعن. So the Roma said, oh, didn't you know that ba'is and ya'is in Arabic are interchangeable? They are use this or use that. So this is part of the of the use of the language here in that context, in the main meaning and the secondary meaning and the interchangeable wordings. We have to understand these things very well in order to be able to address Quran. Another point, the fourth one, which is that Quran indicates, Quran actually states or indicates goals, the goals of the Quran, the big goals, the principles, explicitly. The two sides of the equation. He expresses the kufr and Islam. He expresses kufr in the worst way, and he expresses and describes and states iman in the best way. Kufr in the worst way, expresses it and describe it, and Islam in the best way. So when you find and when Quran does that, he actually tells us that these are the two points of the equations, the two far sides. There is in between. Okay, so how do we know the in between? This is where Sunnah comes in. Sunnah tells us what's in between. What is the Muslim who do ma'siyah? What is the Muslim who do dhanb? What is the sahib al-bid'ah, which is better than the Muslim who do a sin? So all these grades, what considers in-betweens, all the in-betweens between the worst kufr and the best Islam is in Sunnah. But Quran doesn't deal with this. Quran comes with the ultimate values, the ultimate goals. It describes the ultimate goals of a Muslim, and whether in Islam become the best mu'min or to avoid the worst description of the kafir. And how do you know that? Listen to what, see, the point is, that's what some people say, oh, we know now, we have all the internet and we have all hadith, and we understand more than Sahaba. No. Look at the wasiyah, the will that Abu Bakr left to Umar. It was actually one of the best usool wasiyah to the guidance, to guide people in understanding. He said, have you not seen that the verse of ease was revealed with the verse of hardship, and the verse of hardship with the verse of ease, so that the believer may be hopeful and fearful? See what Abu Bakr, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants the Muslim to be raghib and rahib. He is hopeful and he is fearful. So Abu Bakr said, not so hopeful as to wish from Allah what is not his right, nor so fearful that he casts himself into destruction and despair. So he said, have you not seen, Umar, that Allah mentioned the people of hellfire with their evil deeds? Also, see guys, also always Quran mentioned that when he talks about kufr, he mentioned the words. He only mentioned kafirun, mean the kufr akbar, kufr that takes people out of Islam, ridda, the kuffar. He doesn't talk about kufr asghar or sin. It doesn't talk about that. Have you not seen, Umar, that Allah mentioned the people of hellfire, means al-kuffar, with their evil deeds, because he rejected their good deeds, because their kufr made their deeds, good deeds are rejectable. Khalas, it doesn't matter what good they did. Why would Quran mention it? Why would it be even in their scale? It's not in a scale of akhirah. And you would remember them, and when you remember them, you would say, I fear I may be among these. You're fearful of these. And he, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, mentioned the people of paradise with their best deeds, because he forgave their faults. Allah, very beautiful, very beautiful. These are the best. قد أفلح المؤمنون الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون والذين هم عن اللغو معرضون والذين هم للزكاة فاعلون. So just read the 10 ayahs of Surah Al-Mu'minun, and your spirit will be in the sky high, because these are the best mu'mins. Not that those who pray their salah all the time doesn't make any sin other than that. No. They might do, but Allah forgave them, because this is one of the things that are a great, He only talks about the mu'mins that never do shirk, that actually have tawheed completely engraved in their hearts, Tawheed al-Rububiyyah and Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah. And these are their description. So he actually forgave their faults. And Abu Bakr continues, and if you remember them, you would say, I fall short. How can I reach these deeds? Look how beautiful this will now is. Look how beautiful Abu Bakr's words to Sayyidina Umar. Look how these people, Sahaba radiallahu anhum wa ardahum, how do they think at their deathbed? They didn't think of how much I'm going to give this son, how much I give this, how much I give that, how I'm going to do this, how the dispersing of my money, or the quarrel with my partners. No. It doesn't matter. He's talking about how to understand Quran. Words that engraved in the memory of human beings, of Muslims, the best human beings for 1477 years now. 1447 years. It won't go away. And it came to this humble person sitting here and saying it to you guys, among many people who is saying to other many people as well. So this is a very, very great point that we have to engrave it. Whenever you read the word al-kafirun, فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْكَافِرُونَ, it means those are the kuffar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He mentioned here an attribute of a kafir who is ever do this. Kafir, a major kufr out of religion, out of Islam. He is not talking about something less than that. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْكَافِرُونَ. Whoever rule with laws other than Allah, those are al-kafirun. Here is not like al-Ikhwan say, this is kufr asghar, this is the minor kufr. No. Quran doesn't speak. Quran doesn't use this this logic in language. It doesn't. It's not in Qawa'id al-Tafseer. That's why Shalbi commented on it and brought it in explicitly in Muwafaqat, and it is good part of his section on understanding al-Kitab. So, and when Allah says فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الظَّالِمُونَ, الظَّالِمُونَ means the worst zulm, the zulm that is kufr, because zulm can be kufr and can be zulm, like you make zulm to your employee, you make zulm to your wife a little bit, to your son, to your partner in business. You make some zulm here and there. We all do this little things here and there. But this is not the zulm akbar. That's why when the ayah of Quran descended on Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that doing whatever in the ayah, it slipped my mind, that this is zulm, that the Zalimun are going to go to hell. Rasulullah told them, no, this is not. So they went to Rasulullah and they said, Ayuna la yazlimu nafsa, in hadith. Who of us doesn't look zulm to himself or to somebody around him? Who do that? Then we all go to hell. So he said, this is not the zulm that you understand. This is the zulm akbar. This is a major zulm. إن الظلم والكافرون هم الظالمون. The kuffar are the ظالمون, and ظالمون are the kuffar. This Quran talk about the الظلم الأكبر, the major zulm, which is there is no major zulm more than giving a sharik, a partner to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So الظالمون in Quran, it's a major kufr. Al-Kafirun in Quran, major kufr. Al-Fasiqun in Quran is major kufr. All these words, when it comes to Quran, we cannot understand it as minor, because minor only comes in Sunnah. It doesn't come in Quran. Oh, the ayah actually, I remember now. Rasulullah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala في Surah Al-An'am said, الذين آمنوا ولم يلبسوا إيمانهم بظلم. Those who have iman and never made dhulm, to allow dhulm to be with their iman, to get together with their iman, to penetrate their iman. الذين آمنوا ولم يلبسوا إيمانهم بظلم. Al-An'am 82. So they said, أينا لم يظلم نفسه. Who يا رسول الله doesn't make dhulm themselves? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent the ayah of Luqman, إن الشرك لظلم عظيم. Shirk is the dhulm al-azim. We mean Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I mean in Quran, he means in Quran, الظلم means shirk, means the kufr. So whenever الظالمون in Quran, it is the kufr. There is a fifth point, which is ظاهر القرآن وباطنه, the explicit and the inner meanings of Quran and how it was dealt with, and we are going to do that inshallah next time, and in Dars 35 and 25, sorry, 25, and no, this is 25. In Dars 26, what? No, man, in Dars in Dars 25, because this is 24, and that's why I start to get tired. So, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.